This is the Carl DeMaio Show. We're giving you the story behind the story, and we're fighting to take back our state for a better California. So in this episode, I want to talk about the environment. Now, Democrats always are presented by the media and, of course, by the Democrat Party as the only ones that care about our environment. They're the only ones that want clean air and clean water and healthy lands. And it's those darn Republicans that want to destroy the environment. That's the narrative. And that's a very dangerous narrative because when you ask people, do you like the environment? Most reasonable people say, yeah, I want a clean environment. And the issue of climate change has become the focal point for the Democrats. Because they have nothing else on the environment to offer. I mean, think about it. We've made tremendous progress in this country, thankfully, on improving air quality, water quality, cleaning up lands, whether they're the brownfield sites. We've been able to make substantial progress in this country in improving and protecting our environment. And that's something to celebrate. But because all that progress has been made, Democrats need to have another boogeyman. And I believe ultimately that's where the issue of climate change comes in. I want to address a couple of these issues all in this podcast because I think Republicans are making a mistake by ceding, by granting, by surrendering the issue of the environment to the Democrats. It is an important issue, particularly to the independent voters and to a lot of our coastal communities where Republicans have lost a lot of seats out here in California. So I believe that a positive message from Republicans on the environment is critically important if they're going to have a majority across the country, if they're going to win millennials who are very environmentally conscious, and if we're going to make progress in the beautiful, environmentally conscious state of California. And for my Republican friends, I always ask them this question in these speeches I give all up and down the state of California, frankly, across the country as well. But I ask Republicans, why are we not talking about the environment? And there's this uncomfortable shifting in the seats in the audience. You know, people kind of like look around and say, "Oh, he's bringing up the environment. Oh goodness, we should be embarrassed." And I actually pointed out. I say, "Wait, hold on. Why are some of you getting a little nervous? Why are you shifting in your seats? How many of you in this audience?" And these are all Republicans that I speak to when I do this. How many of you in this audience wants to have a dirtier environment? How many of you want to choke on dirty air and gag on dirty water? No one raises their hand. They kind of laugh. And so I say, well, so what you're telling me is that you share the goal of a clean environment. Now, show of hands, how many of you think that Republican ideas of freedom, personal responsibility, accountability, innovation, entrepreneurship, the free market forces, how many of you think that those principles and philosophy can solve problems better than socialism and government control? And all the hands go up. And so I ask them the question, if you are so confident in Republican ideas of freedom, personal responsibility, accountability, market-based solutions, innovation, if you're so confident, as you should be, in those ideas, then why do we not talk about the environment? Can we talk about the Republican plan on environmental protection and sustainability? What is it? Because I will argue that one does not yet exist, and I would like us to offer one. And so I start out with that notion that the Republican Party has made a big mistake because they love the environment. Everyone does. They've got better ideas than Democrats, but they're the best kept secret when it comes to Republican ideas on the environment. And I think we need to change that. So what are some of the ideas I think we should move forward on? First and foremost, we need to identify local environmental hazards and issues and demand accountability from government. I'm going to give you two examples here in San Diego County. Tijuana River sewage. Oh yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Last year, 133 days of last year, we had to shut down our beaches and issue swimming notices, warnings, to surfers and others not to go in the water because Tijuana has been negligent and has allowed its raw sewage to overflow into the Tijuana River Valley. This has been going on for 60 years. Democrats and Republicans, locally, statewide, and nationally, have been negligent. They've not demanded accountability from the Mexican government, from the Tijuana municipal government to fix the problem. Instead, we just have sewage that continues to spill over into our beaches and our bays. What you have also is the contamination hurting our surfers, our lifeguards, our community. Even Border Patrol agents are reluctant. They still do it, but they are reluctant to follow illegal immigrants into the Tijuana River when they believe that the river is contaminated with raw sewage. And so when Donald Trump says build the wall, I love it, but I also want him to say build a toilet bowl. At the base of the Tijuana River Valley, we need to make sure that we get a handle on the sewage. Republicans should be down there at the border demanding action. And I've released a 5-point plan that I believe will provide accountability for solving the Tijuana River sewage problem. First, we would issue a request for solution, RSS, request for solution, to the private sector saying, we believe that in order to fix the Tijuana River sewage problem, it would cost X amount of money if we go with traditional approaches. But we want to outsource through an innovation competition to the private sector solutions. Design us a solution, and if you are the winner, you'll get the contract and you'll get a cash reward on top of the contract. I will tell you right now, you'll get a lot more cost-efficient and effective solutions than what the government bureaucrats have proposed. They proposed 5 projects, which I don't have a whole lot of confidence in. And frankly, we don't have any accountability to get them done. That leads me to my second point. For every day that Tijuana's sewage spills over and contaminates our beaches and bays, and last year there was 133 days where we had to shut things down. For every day that they do that, we close the border. Oh yeah, baby. You wanna hit them where it hurts? Clean up your raw sewage, or we're gonna close the border. And maybe it's not a full closure. Maybe we reduce the times that it's open during those days, and we add hours for every week that goes by where we have raw sewage. We add additional closures. But we need to tell the Mexican government that they become a partner and be accountable for this, or we hit them where it hurts in the pocketbook. Here's the other issue that Republicans should be all over. The nuclear waste at San Onofre. Sitting there on the beaches. I don't think that's a particularly safe place to be putting it. But right now you have Democrats in Nevada, Democrat senators, powerful Democrat senators that are trying to block transfer of nuclear waste into Yucca Mountain. It started with Senator Harry Reid, and no one has really cracked that opposition. We need nationally to have a nuclear waste storage facility that's secure, like what has been put in place in plan for Yucca Mountain. Can you imagine all those folks realizing that Republicans are taking the lead on cleaning up and safely disposing of and storing nuclear waste? Those are just 2 ideas locally that we should be talking about, but there's others that I have. And so I want to share a few additional ones when we come back. But first, these messages.
Carl DeMaio here. From raiding our road improvement funds for bus and bike lanes to gas taxes and congestion taxes, politicians keep making it harder to drive. Traffic will only get worse unless we demand change. Join me, Carl DeMaio, by signing the petition at fixsandiegoroads.org.
Carl DeMaio thinks it's time to clean up the mess in Congress and take a new approach to solving problems. That's why Carl DeMaio is proposing the Fix Congress First plan. Make Congress live under the same laws the rest of us do. No special exemptions. Eliminate lavish congressional pensions and other perks. Force Congress to open up its own books and records to public review. Make Congress read the bills first before they vote on them. No budget, no pay. Permanently take away Congress's pay for every day the budget is late. If we want better results from Washington, we need to start by fixing Congress first. That's why it's time to help Carl DeMaio get his Fix Congress First plan enacted. Sign Carl's petition and help fix Congress first.
You're listening to the Carl DeMaio Show, and we're talking about the environment and how Republicans need to have a positive, proactive message on environmental protection. If they're so confident about having better ideas, they need to be sharing those ideas on the environment. So I just laid out two local projects that I think we should be focusing on. Tijuana River sewage from Mexico that contaminates our beaches and bays, and the nuclear waste that is improperly stored right now at San Onofre on the beaches here in San Diego. Here's some other things we should be talking about. Remember the plastic straw ban? Yeah. So why don't we ban a convenient sanitary item, straws, plastic straws? Why? Because, well, the Democrats have never actually shown data as to why we should be banning that. It's just all about showboating. It's all about grandstanding. See, I love the environment. I'm banning this. It's like saying, I love the environment. I'm banning ice cubes. And they're like, oh, that's nice. Oh, there's no basis for it. Here's why. When you say, well, Carl, we have plastics in the ocean, and some of those plastics may be straws. Okay, so let's look at where the plastics are coming from. 95% of the plastics in the oceans that are studied and captured, according to all the international groups, which tend to be left-leaning, 95% of the plastics come from China, India, and Africa. Not from the United States, not from Europe. So it suggests that Europe and the United States actually have a pretty good program or process or culture for properly disposing of plastics. Not that we're perfect, and more can and should be done. Which leads me to my proposal. Instead of limiting the personal freedoms of law-abiding, responsible citizens and banning things, don't have that. No styrofoam for you, no plastic straw for you, no plastic water bottle. Oh, no. Do you know why the Democrats don't ban plastic water bottles? Because they're making money off the plastic water bottles. You know those bottles, plastic water bottles. When you buy those items, it's 5 cents to the state of California for the recycling fee. And if you don't recycle, that money gets kept by the bureaucrats and the politicians. That's why they haven't gotten rid of the biggest source of plastics. It's all about showboating and symbolism. No one in the media wants to call them out on it. But here's something that I think would help clean up our beaches, our bays, our canyons, and our oceans. And that is, if you are on welfare, food stamps, direct aid, if you are homeless, or if you are out on probation, you will work for 2-hour shifts cleaning up trash along the roads, in our beaches, our bays, our parks, our canyons. Yes, you will be put to work through community service cleanups. Oh, what? Cat got your tongue, Democrats? Oh, that's terrible, because guess what? It actually says welfare to work. It forces people who are on welfare to actually do something beneficial in exchange for the generous assistance that we provide. And on top of that, it cleans up our beaches, our bays, our oceans, our canyons. And who can argue with that? This is a 70% issue, and Republicans should be all over it. Mandatory community environmental cleanups for welfare, homeless, and people out on probation. Now, those are just 3 ideas I just laid out on environmental issues. Here's another one. This may surprise some of my Republican friends. I don't think we need to drill offshore along California for oil. You know why? Because there's a lot of wells on the land that have been capped. because of old technologies. 30 years ago, 40 years ago, they drilled a well in the middle of nowhere on land. And under the old technologies, they pumped as much oil out of that well as possible, and they capped it. There are a lot of capped wells, thousands of capped wells around the country on land. Now with fracking, we can actually reopen those wells and with new technology produce energy. We can pump oil. And so I actually think that a good bargain may be, let's protect our beaches and our bays, and we don't need to do offshore oil drilling at this time, perhaps ever, hopefully never. And instead, let's incentivize the use of modern technology to go back to existing wells that are already they already have had their environmental impact, and utilize those wells to maximize production. Again, this is thinking like a Republican. The idea of what is common sense, what is evidence-based, what is results-oriented, what is cost-efficient. How do we have that pro-environment message? I loved it the other day when I saw that the Trump EPA issued a notice of violation to San Francisco city government because of the homeless epidemic. Human feces and urine and trash from homeless camps has created an environmental impact, and the EPA rightfully is chastising the uber Democrat-controlled city, entire Democrat-controlled city. There's no Republican elected officials up there. The entire Democrat-controlled city of San Francisco for their environmental mismanagement. I want to see more of that. Where you see like Flint, Michigan with the bad water, that was a Democrat city council. You never hear about that. They were in charge of the water supply and water oversight as a local utility. San Francisco claims to be pro-environment, but because they coddle the homeless, there's all sorts of negative environmental impacts. Again, Republicans should be looking for opportunities to say, we love the environment. Why is it that these Democrat-controlled cities are getting a pass? They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're contributing to water degradation, contaminating our lands. We've got to be starting to think about all those issues. Now, let's talk about air quality. Because we've cut off water supply to farms in Central Valley, we have higher asthma rates in Central Valley because of the mismanaged water program here in the state of California. Why not have Republicans talking about the poor kids that are getting asthma? Or how about the rats that have overtaken our cities because of Democrat mismanagement and the fact that they don't want to do rodent control properly, and the fact that they're allowing the homeless encampments to provide a steady source of food? Rat droppings contribute to environmental hazards that lead to asthma in children. I want Republicans to be out there raising these issues about the environmental conditions and how existing laws, you don't need new laws, existing laws have not been accountably implemented. Now, of course, we want to talk about climate change. The other side has been saying that we're going to have global cooling. That was in the 70s. Then they said we're going to have global warming. That was in the 80s and 90s. When none of their studies actually came true. They then just said, well, why don't we just change it to climate change in general? That way we get credit for anything that's different from yesterday. Well, guess what? Climate's been changing since the beginning of the planet. Do I believe human beings impact the environment? Yes. And the climate? Yes. Everyone, every ecosystem, every plant impacts the environment. No doubt. Do I think that we can control the climate? No. And I think when Republicans deal with climate change, they need to say the other side wants to offer you this notion that we can control the climate, and that's just folly. And in the meantime, they're not taking care of the beaches, the bays, the air, the lands. Let's focus on that. Climate change, the jury is still out as to what we can and cannot do and what is and is not happening. They've been wrong up to this point, and I'm not willing to give over my entire economy. Your job is on the line, your quality of life, your ability to afford to live. They want you to sacrifice all of that on the notion of the boogeyman, who may or may not exist. Again, if you just deny climate change, I don't think we're going to be able to satisfy people's genuine concerns. But if you go out and say, look, let's look at the data, let's figure out what's going on. Right now, I'm not willing to sacrifice the economy for something that's not proven, and we don't have a steady, solid strategy for dealing with climate change. But in the meantime, we can clean up the Tijuana River Valley and the nuclear waste, and we can clean up the plastics, and we can clean up Central Valley air quality, and we can clean up San Francisco. That becomes a pro-environment Republican platform. That does it for us today. I hope that you agree with me on this issue of the environment. It's going to be important for the future of California. Share our podcast with your friends and have them download it on their favorite app, or just go to CarlDeMaioShow.com or ForBetterCalifornia.com. This podcast was paid for by Carl DeMaio for Congress. I'm Carl DeMaio, and I proved this message.